But why would you? But go to the Facebook group and make sure you put mute on the Facebook video, because that's gonna make it echo. Hey guys, I decided to, let it give a little time. You say stuff at 8 o'clock, but ain't nobody gonna start eating at 8:30. So I thought I'd give everybody a little chance to come in tonight. Y'all know what we talking about. I hope everybody can hear me good, cause y'all know I can't hear myself. So if there's anybody's watching, let me know in the comments if you can hear me, if you hear, if you're live. Most people usually catch the replay because they're doing stuff on Saturday night. But I'm right here with y'all tonight, about to tell y'all all about how podcasts make money. I always wonder, is it podcast for one and podcast with an S for two? Or can podcasts also be plural? Like I make podcasts. No, it probably need to have an S. Anyway, all right, guys. So we are going to go ahead and get started. And I'm not going to go completely over the last two sessions because by now it has been about 2 weeks. So all of the lessons that I have, been teaching you guys is available in the guides. Okay. So on the first two videos, I actually called it units, but Facebook, and I'm talking just happened a few days ago. Facebook changed units to guides. So if you guys look right at the top of the Facebook group, there is a section called guides. When you click on the guides, the first video from week 1 is going to be there, and then guide 2 is going to be week 2 video there. So when you finish watching a video, you can comment on it if you have any questions, and then you can hit the word done, basically say that you're done. It's a good way to kind of follow your progress, and it also shows me how many people in this group actually watch the videos and actually are following through. Now, you guys want to make sure you are, if you really, 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 really was interested in making a podcast, you should be exactly where I am now. And I am to the point where I have already set up my Buzzsprout, site, because they give you a site for free. I've already created the title. I've created my icon. I've created everything. All I need to do is basically start on my batch processing and start on creating my intro. We have one more week left. I'm thinking I might do a bonus weekend, but I might make it like on a Friday or something during the day, because it seemed like maybe I was being too nice by making videos on Saturday, and everybody is, I don't know, maybe y'all out partying or something, because I thought it was a COVID, but maybe not. Anyway, so next Saturday is going to be the very last Saturday. So that's when we're going to talk about basically finalizing your process, your podcast, and start ways that you can do batch processing and ways that you can create a script. So tonight we talking about money. If there wasn't anything else that wanted you to, that made you and pushed you to make a podcast, I think it would probably be the money part. And a lot of people don't realize it. They say, oh, it's free, like the radio is free too. So if the radio is free and they make money, podcasts, even though they're free, they also make money. But believe it or not, a lot of podcast hosts actually make more than people on the radio. That's why I switched my. That's why I switched exactly what career path that I was gonna take, because I actually really really wanted to go on the radio so hard. It was like my main goal. But one, they make it so hard for women. One, black women, and two, they literally make you go through all that, and you only end up making $20,000-$30,000 a year. I made more money than that working at a casino in Detroit, Michigan. So again, let's go ahead and get started into how podcast makes money. So this is how podcasts make money. First off, we're gonna go ahead and just go and say, listen, y'all, podcasts make so much money, it's ridiculous. And whether you are a famous person that started a podcast or nobody that nobody knew a year ago, but they know you now, people are making millions, thousands, hundreds, and I could say regular dollars and pennies on podcasts. Okay. So the tips that I'm going to give you tonight about creating podcasts is going to be what I consider actual, real reasons. I mean, real ways that you can make podcasts. Real ways that you can make money on. Am I having a stroke? So tonight, basically, 5 ways that podcasts make money. Now, there's way more than 5 ways, but a lot of the other ways that people make podcasts have something to do with them being either a famous name, they used to be a rap artist. I don't know, they are with some big company like an NPR podcast or a podcast with iHeartMedia that sponsored it and promoted. You know, when you got companies like that, of course you're going to make a lot of money because, for example, this is a perfect example. Just hilarious. She just came out with a podcast and it's already ranking in number 5. You're with iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio is going to be doing so much hard promoting for their new podcast. On top of the fact that she already has an audience of millions and a comedian, then of course you're going to get all your different types of ads and money that you're going to be making on that podcast, right? So that's an example for somebody that is really like a big name or somebody big. But I'm going to give you 5 ways tonight where actual regular person, what I like to call a real person that has either started a business or you consider yourself an expert on a particular topic or whatever it is you're going to be talking about. Um, I'm going to tell you ways that people in this group, people actually watching this video, I'm going to show you 5 ways that you can make a podcast. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So first things first is affiliate marketing. Okay, so if you don't know what affiliate marketing is, you could just look at the word affiliate and marketing. Basically, what that is they will give you a link, and this link will be specially coded just to you. And whoever clicks on that link, they will know that that link came from you. And when they click on it, if they make a purchase, you get a piece of that purchase. So basically, affiliate links could be dropped into the podcast informational section. Every platform that you upload your podcast to actually has an informational section, and you pretty much can type whatever you want there. You can type your website, your email, your phone number, but this is a particularly the right place where you want to drop in those affiliate links if you have some. So some examples of affiliate links is going to be Amazon, Target. There's one place called Share Sale. Plenty of places you can probably Google that actually provide you with affiliate links. But one that I personally have experience with is called ClickBank. And I just really recently just learned about ClickBank, but also um, ClickBank is one that is really easy to set up. Can I get the charger on that side? Thank you. So laptop dying. ClickBank is one that is literally one of those ones that's basically you easy to sign up for it, and they give you a full list of companies that you can sign up for, and it'll tell you this is what the link is, this is what the product is, and when you share it, this how much money you can make off of it. It's simple as that. And I go in there all the time and check stuff. You know, I try to find companies that kind of more so relate to something I'm doing that week. So a good example is affiliate link I used a few weeks ago. Because I do media videos and stuff like this, I actually found a affiliate company that was basically doing photography, and they teach you how to do photography. They teach you how to make films and edit. It's like a full on course that they were selling. And so, because that related to something I was already doing, I was like, cool, cool. Let me go ahead and save this affiliate link and start sharing it. And you can make up that affiliate link. You connect it to your PayPal, and ClickBank actually even asks you for your, little, your number, like so you can file taxes as a freelancer or whatever the case may be. And so I shared that link. So anytime somebody click on that link, I would make $34 from the sale or $55 from the sale, something like that. So affiliate links are really, really good and they're really popular. A lot of people actually use affiliate links right now in their YouTube videos. So it's a really good thing for podcasts too, because sometimes people use YouTube to actually promote their podcast. Like you don't ever want to put a full episode on YouTube, of course, but let's just say I recorded background, a few segments. I will only use that recording to promote it. And when you promote it, you can say, hey, check out such and such and such a today. They actually promoted this episode. You can click the link in my bio, and bam, people will click the link in your bio on your Instagram or a link in your information on YouTube. So, affiliate links. That's probably one of my favorite and it's easiest to set up. The next one is going to be sponsoring and advertising. Now, for some people, this might be a little hard, but I don't really think it's that hard. There's always people out there looking for some way that they can kind of sell their product. Now, it must be noted that most of the time most people will get sponsors or advertising if they are with like a big network or a big company or whatever the case may be. But a lot of people don't know and they don't understand that you actually can make your own podcast network. There's a lot of platforms like Spreaker that actually allow you to have your own podcast like company, like whole, what I like to call a network. And it's possible because podcasts have gotten so deep in the game nowadays. Getting your podcast on a network is like being a new rap artist signed to a label. You guys, I'm not even playing. This is real life. Like people are really getting signed out here to podcast networks as if they are rap artists because it's the same thing. It's content. It could be copyright written, and people can place ads in anywhere where advertisers think they can get their name out there. They're gonna do it. So sponsoring advertising is really good, especially if you somebody who really don't want to be connected to a network. You can also deal with local people. Now, what do I mean by local people? Now, this is something that I've always had an idea that I wanted to do, and I know I'm definitely going to do this with my new podcast. But let's say that you were doing a podcast about a particular topic or a particular thing. For example, and I'll just do this example off the top of my head, like I always do. Y'all know I love to do it like that. If I had a business where I was always doing arts and crafts, right? And I was talking about the different industries in arts and crafts and, how this store might be better than that store, something like that. My podcast is just about arts and crafts and creativity or whatever the case may be. Let's say there is Missy's Arts and Crafts that's right in my neighborhood. And maybe my podcast has a lot of local people that listen to it. Not only can Missy like advertise my podcast and her interview on my podcast or something like that, but people will come to my podcast, listen to my podcast because they live in the area, and then they might go to Missy's Arts and Crafts because they heard it on my podcast. So that's what I mean when I say locally, but also on Instagram. If you have those different companies, as you see back in the day, if you've been on the internet as long as I have, back in the day, it used to be like, this a sponsor page or a tag page. What they used to call, shout out page. Where they just randomly you don't even know who run the page, but it's nothing but shout outs all day, all day. Of course, you don't want your podcast to be like that, but you can do a thing where if you kind of like add certain ad space and you can say, well, my podcast gets 1,000 listens or 1,000 downloads, and I see you on my timeline. I will do an ad for you that's gonna run all month long, and you can charge them whatever price you want to charge them. You can kind of make those deals back and forth. Create a little email where you can send out people, your own little email list, potential companies or people you might want to advertise for, whatever the case may be. And if they give you a special code, then they can tell, okay, 5 people came into my store this month and they said they heard it from Prina. So they got the Prina discount. And that's a way for them to tell how many sales they got from people listening to your podcast. And it also gives you that little room where you could be like, yeah, I made you some money and I made me some money because we're using sponsoring and advertising. So that's part two. So another one, number three is courses. Yes, you guys, you're probably thinking courses. What do you mean a course? Yes, I mean a course. Listen, you guys, um, professors at colleges, professors and teachers and stuff at schools are not the only people getting paid money to do courses. Actually, a lot of people could probably make more money making a course than they do working for a public school. But who gonna teach the kids? Somebody got to teach the kids. So courses, if you don't know what a course is, then you are definitely missing out on a major money making thing that the internet is doing. This is going down. People are buying courses all day every day, and you probably don't think so because you probably haven't purchased one yourself, but it is real life out here. And I'm telling you this because I have examples of my own. So a really good example of buying a course. If you create a podcast, right? You are talking about something in particular that you consider yourself an expert on. Of course, you could say everybody, nobody, everybody isn't an expert. What. But if you're talking about it, if you can say something about it, you are your own expert. If somebody want to know what you know, guess what? You can create your own little course and that way you can sell it. Trust and believe. There are so many people out here, you guys, trying to do everything in the world to not have to go to college, but spend less money on still advancing themselves and advancing that way to get an education. And it's real. I mean, you already got sites like Coursera that's teaching stuff. You got LinkedIn Learning. I always tell people to sign up for LinkedIn Learning for their 30-day free trial. Udemy, if you ever heard of Udemy, a lot of people, a lot of people are doing courses on Udemy, and you can buy a course in like photography, you guys, for $15. So when I say you can sell courses, and some podcasters do, you can sell a course on something that you are podcasting about. For example, again, I love to use my friends as examples. And this courses can go along with the ebook thing too. If you were somebody who loved to talk about desserts and sweets, then you can try to promote your ebook at the end of every episode. If you were somebody who sold bath washes and bath butters and stuff like that, then you can literally create a full-on course with different segments showing how to start a business. What was your list that you got, where you got your products from? What stores and what contact list did you actually use to create your website? Like, people want to know step by step what you did to get to where you are. And that information is valuable. Everybody is not a self-proclaimed, Googleologist like I am. Everybody don't have time to spend 8, 10, 12, 15 hours to sit up there and research this stuff. If somebody else already did it, let me just give you this money real quick and I'll just read the research that you did for me. So that's what courses are. That's you taking the time out of your life, putting all the information that you know all together in one way and putting it together as a course. So that's one way. That is another way to sell things through a podcast. Okay. You can just tell people at the end, if you guys want to learn how to do XYZ, you can check out my course. The link is in the description, whatever. A good example for me recently, you guys don't know this, but I don't know. I kind of be staying low key about it because, I be busy, y'all. But I actually do social media management for a lady who sells courses. Okay. So, if you guys ever see this company online, it is legit. I only mess around with the legits, you know. But Wealthy You is a company that literally talks about wealth investing. They teach people how to invest, 401ks, IRAs, all this stuff that the average person, the average African American too, that didn't learn this financial information growing up or when they was younger. So I do her social media and I see behind the scenes how she does her course. She does free classes, she does free master classes, kind of like you guys are sitting in this free sitting in this free podcast class right now. Hold on one second. This is not work. Both our phone chargers not work for each other. This is not charging your laptop. Oh, I got it. It's a MacBook Air. So only one of the ports charge. Anyway, sorry guys. But yeah, so she does courses, and these women, you guys, they pay $3,000 a year and or $300 a month to be in these courses. And is she has a niche audience, it's niche down to, older women who've worked their whole life, smart, got degrees, got the money, but don't really know where to invest their money. And a lot of these women are able to, figure out what to do with their money the right way, invest. They're becoming IRA and 401k millionaires. It is amazing because I'm behind the scenes doing her social media managing, but I'm learning so much and I'm just like, wow. So any chance that I get to tell people about that, I tell people about it. But she has a course. Now, if she had a podcast where she was talking about these little financial tidbits, like a 15-minute podcast, bam, she could sell her course at the end. People will be interested in the course because they love the podcast. Another example, one of the courses that I personally bought, all I needed to do was go to one master class. I heard one podcast and I was like, oh, I'm in it. I need all that stuff because if you really, really know me, I researched some stuff too. I'm blue in the eyes. But I wasn't about to go through and research all this stuff when it's somebody I found online that already did it and had it all for one little price. Because again, time is worth money. Always remember that. Time is worth money. So the program that I actually spend my money on, and I call it an investment, is Work You University. That cost me like $350. I just cashed out for the whole year because I don't have time to learn about, Spotify and drop shipping and CBC businesses and marketing and all this. So I don't have time to learn about all that. I mean, I went to school, got my degrees, I got a master's degree, but all the stuff I went to school is in radio, television, production, and film. Like the stuff that she has, and I didn't have time to be paying thousands of dollars for that when she got it for $350. So courses, you could definitely sell courses on your podcast at the end of your podcast, and just think, oh, all I need to sell is 3 courses this month, 4 courses this month, or whatever the case may be. Now, another one of my favorite ones is services. So services is basically, let's say if I'm a podcast, like y'all already know I do podcasts, I love podcasts. So if I wanted to sell services like editing services or graphic services, logo services, business card services, this will always be something that you will mention at the end of your podcast. And you can even create it as just a already pre-record. So every time your podcast end, they hear the little advertiser at the end. If you want editing services for your podcast, you can go to www. Whatever, whatever, whatever. So trust and believe when I say whatever you selling, you can sell it on your podcast. I don't care if it's belly beads or a freaking, I don't know, some people make mugs, or if it's t-shirts, like I started a t-shirt business. Let's see if I wanted to start selling my t-shirts on my podcast. At the end of my podcast, I would say, hey, if you, I don't know, if you like any of the phrases I said today, you can go buy a t-shirt that says XYZ on it. And that's how you can sell it. Listen, guys, it is over 7 billion people in the world. And podcasting has the least amount of competition when it comes to digital stuff online. It's more people on YouTube, it's more people, on social media in general, but it's not that many people on podcast platforms. Therefore, you have a better chance of building yourself up, making yourself some money, or whatever the case may be. So let's move right along. The next one is going to be Patreon and crowdfunding. Now, this is particularly one of my favorite ones. That Patreon is one that a lot of people on YouTube use because YouTube like to take forever in a day to try to get you monetized, but you ain't gotta wait forever in a day. If you already got an audience, if you already know you have a following online and people want to, they love you, they want to support you. People are going to support you with money, you guys. Don't think it ain't possible. We know this stuff is not easy. You should know this stuff is not easy. It should not be taken lightly. If you guys see where I was sitting at right now, this stuff, I got a light here. I got light here. The stuff behind me, I got a whole camera over there. I got 3 to 4 mics. This stuff don't like it is not cheap. And when people get online and they start creating this content for you, whether it's content that make you feel good, it's content that's has some value and get some worth, and it's informing you about something, you know they're spending their money to freely do this and give you this information. So something like Patreon or crowdfunding is something that you definitely can look into. Even if you never promoted it, you can definitely set up a Patreon account. Again, throughout the week, I'm going to be dropping links to some of these services on the board, because y'all know apparently I'm the only one that be posting. I mean, y'all there, but y'all like ghost following. So I'll be posting throughout the week your different resources that I'm talking about tonight, and different websites you guys can check out so you can sign up for it and get you a little bit of multiple streaming going on, multiple streaming income going on. But Patreon and crowdfunding is a really good idea. People are always willing to give a $1 or $2. Again, if you had 10,000 people that listen to your podcast every month and they love you to death, all you need is 10,000 people to love you to death. Think about it. And all those people pay for $1 subscription. They pay $1 a month to listen to you. That's $10,000 a month. So if you think of it like that and you look at it like that, people that's willing to sign up for your stuff, sign up for your subscription, that's a major way that people make money. And you can offer things like premium content. Maybe they get the episode before everybody else. Maybe they can get some ad free, for ad free episodes. That's kind of like the best thing that ever happened to podcasts is ads. Because if somebody, let's say I got my Patreon members, they get to listen to my podcast episode, without the ads, then yeah, I'm gonna subscribe to that. I love your podcast. I love it even better when I ain't gotta listen to the ads, or maybe you get exclusive one-on-one consults or one-on-one coaching from the podcast host. If that's something I like and that's something I need or something that makes me feel better, guess what, I'm going to join your Patreon. I'm going to be paying you a month. Hey, just like people pay for services for other things like mental health, or pay for services like classes, or pay for whatever it is that they pay for, people like to pay for people that help them or make them feel better about whatever it is they're doing. I mean, the lady I work for, she still pays for a coach. She still pays for some social media, coaching. She pays for mindset coaches, a business coach, because these are real things. Sometimes you just need somebody to you know, root you on and cheer you on and tell you how to do stuff and how you want to, how you can do stuff, because you really don't always have the time to do all the research yourself. So you definitely want to look into Patreon or crowdfunding to make money on your podcast. Now, I'm going to run down some numbers for you real quick so you guys can understand how this money is made. Because some people think that, oh, I'm making a podcast, I'm about to be rich, whoop, whoop, whoop. You will not necessarily be rich, but you probably can make a little bit more money than you make, working at a fast food place or working somewhere that you hate making. Everything takes hard work. And if you're not somebody that's really trying to be on your grind and really serious about this stuff, then of course, you won't make no money. But anything is possible. Anything is possible. But the rewards are always really, really good, especially if you ain't got to do nothing but record, talk about stuff you love to talk about, sound good, and keep it moving. So, anything you can talk about, you basically can sell it or promote it. That's how I look at it. You can sell it and promote it. You can sell it, promote it. Think of YouTube, but without the visuals. So some of the prices I'm gonna run down for you because there is not a public service thing yet that can actually tell you how much XYZ makes on their podcast. Nobody really knows how much people actually make on their podcast. A lot of the numbers that you will see online are estimates or reports that are reported from people themselves or reported from actual big networks that can tell you we made XYZ on our podcast this month. So the main number is called CPM. Always remember this number. That is the cost per 1,000 listeners. So think about it like this: once you get 1,000 people to listen, you can start charging people that money. So the average 30-second CPM costs is about 1,000 listeners, and the rates are $18. So let's say you got 2,000 people listen to each episode. You can charge an advertiser $18 for each 1,000. So if I got 2,000, 18 plus 18 is what? 36. So now I'm charging $36 for each episode of my podcast. The average person doesn't like more than 3. So imagine I got 3 advertisers charging 3 advertisers $36 each, each little ad, 3 ads per episode. Let's say I do 4 a month, right? I ain't got a calculator in front of me, but 36 times 3 times 4. Like, that's how you got to think of the money. And the more listeners you get and the more your crowd goes, that's how you start to make money. So your base price goes for every 1,000 listeners that you have, 1,000 downloads that you have, and you could even double up on that money if you could promise your advertisers, look, I might not be able to get you on a podcast, but guess what? I got 40,000 people on my YouTube page, and the recording of this podcast, I can put in a mid roll of your advertise on my YouTube channel, and you can charge them even more there. So it's ways to make money, and advertisers, they love to hear a good deal and love to hear a really, really good price. So another example is the Bowery Boys. Of course, you guys probably never heard of these people, but they out here making that money, y'all. The Bowery Boys. Okay, so the Bowery Boys is a podcast where they basically just talk about the history of New York City, which is crazy because I actually had an idea to do a podcast about the history of Detroit. Think about it. I just having thoughts right now because I'm just that type of creative. I actually used to work at a historical museum when I lived in Detroit. Imagine if they did a podcast about the history, the 300-year history of Detroit. They wouldn't need as many donations. They wouldn't need to charge admission because that podcast would be making so much money. The Bowery Boys, they do a podcast that talks about the history of New York City, and they make over $3,800 a month just through Patreon. Just through Patreon. So you got to think that's history buffs, people who love New York, all paying them directly through Patreon for their podcast. Remember, podcast is free to listen to. So the only reason why you are really like paying to paying them to listen to their podcast on Patreon, you got to really, really love it. So we're not even talking about the ads that they probably make on the actual podcast. We just talking about their Patreon account. Another really, really good example. The last podcast on the left, very popular podcast, but they make over 57,000 a month, not 5,700. $57,000 a month from Patreon. Now these numbers come from Patreon, so that's the only reason why the numbers are out there. They actually make more than the numbers I'm spitting out to you, because we're not talking about advertisements. We're not talking about whether or not they are, in a network. We're not talking about their merchandise sales. We're not talking about their course sales. We're not talking about nothing else but Patreon. And they're making $57,000 a month. Y'all, it's people that work at Detroit public schools, New York public schools, Philadelphia public schools that don't even make $57,000 a year, let alone a month. Like, what? That's crazy. So stop sleeping on this online money. Stop sleeping on the online hustle. The stuff is here, the stuff is out there. And, I like to call it a convenience fee, because the people who are willing, to do the work and get it done are the people who are going to be able to make money in their sleep. That's making money in your sleep. Okay. People going to listen to your podcast at 3 o'clock in the morning. If they over in India, maybe they trying to learn English. A lot of people don't know this. People listen to a lot of American podcasts because they're trying to learn English. It's just like back in the day when, TV shows portrayed people watching TV, and that's how they learn English. Aliens, they watch TV, all of a sudden they know English. That's what podcasts are. They're not just listened to people in America, they're listened all over the world. And that is the beauty about it. And people really need to understand that. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the comments. Now, this is a link that lets you analyze the different types of money that podcasts make through Patreon. And so you guys can take a look at that whenever. Again, this video is going to be in one of the units, also called guides now. One of the guides at the top. So you guys can, if you're watching this through the replay, type replay in the comments. But you could definitely check out that link if you really want to do the research. I'm not lying. I ain't bullying you. I'm telling you some real facts from my own real research. And y'all, remember, I do this for free. I'm doing this for free because this is simple stuff that I think everybody should know. And at least I did half the research for you. All you need to do is follow the steps, follow through. Because I'm doing it with y'all. Remember, I told y'all this is a podcast with me group, because I am creating a podcast right now. And then when we do it again, when I do it again for the month of March, everybody shout their podcast up and running by March 1st. I ain't playing. If you ain't got it up and running by March 1st, maybe it might be a week after, whatever. But that next round of people who's going to come in a group, they should start getting, following the same videos and should be able to create a podcast too. So I'm just keep the videos up in the group so people can follow them. And then when you actually do your podcast, you can use the people in this group as your audience, as your first members, or whatever the case may be. So that's how podcasts make money, you guys. I told you everything I knew about how podcasts make money. So now we're just going to run and go ahead and go into the podcast introduction tips. Again, if you are following along, you should be already ready for your intro tips. Let me go. I'm getting parched, y'all. Got to take a little sip. Okay. So let's go in and talk about your podcast introduction. Now, I learned my lesson from this because when I first started a podcast, I don't know why I was nervous. I was sitting in my house by myself with nobody watching me, but I was getting hot. And I was like, oh my God, I'm nervous. I don't know why I was nervous, but I felt like the microphone was a whole person and I was live on stage. I'm like, just start spitting, start talking, start spitting games, start talking all this mess. It uploaded. I told people my podcast was going to drop tomorrow, and it didn't. I never knew that it took at least a week before Apple actually started reading the system. It took 4 to 5 days, before Google Podcasts actually start reading the RSS feed. So what I have learned after I actually started helping other people create podcasts and creating other podcasts is you want to do your introductory episode. Now, this introductory episode, an intro. Let me tell you the difference. An introductory episode and your intro are two different things. So I'm gonna just go over both of those real quick. It's about 40 minutes in. You got about 20 minutes left. I'd like to leave the last 10 minutes just in case anybody got any questions. So an intro is how you sound every time your podcast play. It ends up becoming your brand. Think about how when the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, come on, man, we could sing that song in our freaking sleep. We already know what the song is. Like we know when that show come on. When you in the kitchen watching dishes and you start hitting a particular music. I think I binge watched Criminal Minds, all 16, 17 seasons. And I knew when that song came on, like I was jamming to it because I listened to it so much. It ends up becoming that brand song in your head. So this is what your intro to your podcast becomes. It's no more than 15 seconds long. You never want to go over 20 seconds and you don't want to make it too short. Some people jump right into it, but I personally feel like it is good to have an intro to your podcast because people know when it's coming on. They get used to your music, they get used to your voice, and they always are reminded to, what they're listening to. Now, the difference between an intro and an introductory, uh, episode is the introductory episode is basically like your mini trailer. You are talking about who you are. You want to say your name, what your podcast is about, um, and you want to be basically speaking directly to your niche audience. So, and tell them why they should care and what you're offering. So, for example, let's say I do a 5 to 10 minute episode. Remember, we're talking about an introductory episode. I do a 5 to 10 minute episode, and I'm saying, "Hey, you guys, this is the Prina, the host of the First Semester Pod, a podcast where we talk about X, Y, Z, and all those lessons and boo, 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 boo." Right? On this podcast, you can look forward to hearing from this person, this person, this person. I'll be having conversations about the and a little bit of like me. I'm giving a full summary of what my podcast is going to be about, why you should care, and some of the things I might offer that will be beneficial to you. I'm giving tips, or I'm, helping you ease while you clean up the house. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that is a introductory, which is very similar to like an intro sentence or a lead description. Very similar to the description that you have to put underneath your podcast. When you sign up for your account. So that's very important to do, mainly because if you go ahead and record your introductory episode, it's kind of like the trailer, like a movie trailer. So people know it's coming. Apple has already accepted your RSS feed. Spreaker already accepted it. So next time you drop your episode, that thing gonna drop and be up on in within 2 hours, within 1 hour, because you already sent your introductory episode a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Now you can start promoting like, yeah, y'all, my podcast dropping today, woo, 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 whatever the case may be. It's kind of like holding your space in line until you're able to start recording, batch reporting your episodes. So you definitely want to make sure you do an introductory one. I'm going to be doing mine this week. So again, that's something I'm going to be trying to drop to you guys this week to kind of show you how I'm going to do mine. I'm going to let you guys listen to one of my very, very first introduction ones I did tonight. But first, I'm going to give you a quick summary of something that's really, really good that you want to do for your introductory, not your episode. We ain't talking about the episode, but your introductory to your podcast, like your welcome, your intro music. Welcome to such and such a. And goodbye, you guys. Thanks for listening. Those the intros and outros. You guys might be used to hearing this term for not podcasts, but for YouTube videos, the intro and outro. But at least for podcasting, it's really easy for you to just do it with your voice because you just record it, put some music under it, and bam, your intro done. So basically, you want to have music. Now, The conversation about music is always a hard conversation to have with people because people love to use the latest music. They love to use some type of I don't know the artist out today because I'm old lady. Beyonce. I don't know. But they love to have the latest music. But why would you want to put the latest music as your podcast intro if that latest music is not about to be the music in 6 months, not about to be the music in 9 months, and not about to be that jam in a year, 2 years. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure your podcast one has free music because you don't want to have to deal with all these copyrights, nobody suing you and all that. And that's the one thing a lot of people kind of be like, well, if I play the first 10 seconds, no, that's a lie. And I know what I'm talking about because I done took I done took law like 3 times at this point because I didn't took the law class more than once. And I got my law books. I think one of my laptops is literally on a law book. No, you can't use the 30 seconds of any song. You can't say, this is a song that is made for public use or free use, and you can't put all that stuff. No, you can't. It's not free use. You can't use 10 seconds. You can't use the first 30 seconds of no song. When BMG tag you and say, nah, you got to rip this song from your podcast, you're going to be mad when you didn't already invested 5 or 6 episodes with this music. So I'm going to drop a list of free music sites in the comments. And these music sites, particularly the Purple Planet music, is one of my favorites. I use these all the time, but one that you really, really, really can't lose on is just basically going to YouTube audio library. You actually can Google YouTube audio library, and YouTube will pull up a full library of music for you, free for you to use. You know why I know? Because I make YouTube videos and I made hundreds of podcasts, and that's exactly where I get my music from. I ain't got to worry about no copyright. I can make a rap song out the dang on free music if I want to, and make money off of it if I want to. Because if you're going to be making money off of your podcast, you can't sit up here and say, "Oh, I'm using I'm old, y'all. I'm using DMX music." Yeah, I ain't making no money off of this podcast, so I can use DMX music. What? Why are you here then? You make podcasts not only because you love it, but you want to get a little something out of it. So you don't want to use any copyrighted music. There are millions, and I say millions, I am not playing with you guys. There is millions, millions and millions and millions of free music out there, free music sources out there. Like you couldn't even go through all the music straight in a week. You couldn't go through all the music in a month. That's how much music out there is free for you to use in all different places. And you can see the list below, and that's just some of the ones that I know about. That's the most popular one that a lot of people use. And it's even more websites than that. So again, you want to make sure your intro is about um 15 to 25 seconds, no longer than that. And make sure at the end of your podcast, when you do that outro, make sure you do what a lot of people should know by now. It's called a call to action. You always want to make sure you have a call to action at the end of your episode. Actually, I think maybe next week I'm going to not only do my intro and outro, but I also want to show you guys how you can edit your podcast where your intro and your outro and your music is already set up for you on a music bed, on the bed, and all you got to do is drop your audio in there. Drop your audio in there and keep it moving. Actually, I might. That actually sound like a business idea too. Start making music beds for people. All they got to do is drop their audio in it. But a call to action is telling people what you want them to do at the end. Join my Patreon. Subscribe to my podcast. You know, join my Facebook group. Buy my course. You want to make sure when you end your podcast, you do a call to action, or you don't have to. Remember, your links could also be in the description, so you don't need to always feel like you're trying to sell something. But You can always mention, make sure you check the links in the description for more information. Send me an email, send me a voicemail. They have all these types of services, y'all. You can make a podcast where you just have people send you voicemails and ask you questions and you answer them. Like that could be a whole podcast right there. Can't be giving y'all too many deets. I just be having ideas come off the top of my head. Anyway, so I am going to play for you guys one of my first intros I ever had. I had to let the ad go ahead and play, but I'm gonna go ahead and play this for y'all. See. I can't hear it, so tell me if y'all hear it. It is so funny. So funny, you guys, because that was my very, very, very first intro I ever made. And I just, yeah, I thought it was a rapper. I thought I was on a mic. I was like, oh yeah, I got this idea how my intro gonna go, where I'm just saying all this random stuff, right? And then, so it could sound like thoughts in your head. And then I had a music underneath it because my podcast is called My Thing Is This, which one day I'm probably going to revive it. Maybe I revive it next month, but it's called My Thing Is This. And so each episode basically had me ranting on my thoughts about random stuff that was happening in the news. But I thought that intro was so sweet, y'all. Like, I think I still think it's sweet because I'm so geeked on it right now. But that is an example of how a podcast intro can sound, and when you hear that music so many times, and that was free music, y'all, that was free music, free little intro, all that stuff. Like, I made that in my house, in my apartment when I lived on Long Island with this mic, okay? And I was, I thought I was doing something big. So, and I ain't have nobody helping me like I'm helping y'all. So you good. So you can really make that intro anything you want, 10 to 15 seconds. It could be you speaking, it could be you, whatever you want to do, that's you. That's your intro. You can do that. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. If you guys have any questions in the comments, any questions in the comments? Okay, so there is a question in the comments. Then I will answer. Let me see what it is. You can put it across the top in the banner, the question. Okay. So if there aren't any questions before I end this, then I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure again. I gotta stress to you guys at the top the guides. The guides will give you how to podcast week 1, how to podcast week 2, and this is how to podcast week 3, how podcasts make money, and giving you tips on your intros and your introductory episode for your podcast. Again, I'm creating this with y'all. I got mine on and popping. I done made my image. And when you guys make yours finally and do your homework, then you should post in a group. Again, I'm not giving you guys no homework this week. Your only homework is to basically be done with coming up with your episode. At this point, you've had, see, 1, 2. You've had 2 weeks. 2 weeks to make up a podcast topic, right? To make up a podcast topic, your podcast title, like what is your podcast is going to be called. You had time to create your icon. If you couldn't create it yourself, you paid somebody or you paid me and I made it for you. You've had time to figure out if you're going to just use Anchor because you're a beginner. Anchor is completely free. You don't even need no money to start Anchor. So you haven't decided if you want to use Anchor. You should have all this stuff complete. And the only thing that you should be worrying about now is, which way do I want to make money on this podcast? That's all you should be worrying about this week. because I'm giving you more time to get started and get everything popping. So, good luck, you guys. And I will see you guys again next Saturday. Again, I'll be dropping random stuff in the group, random notes, random videos, random how to's, whatever the case may be. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Just want to let you guys know. Of course, I do these podcasts for free. But if you guys ever need somebody that is going to do your producer or do your audio editing for you, create icons for you, whatever the case may be, I'm your girl. Anyway, you guys, thanks for watching. I will see you guys next Saturday, 8 o'clock. Really like 8:15. And see you guys later. Goodbye.